Okay, welcome to our catch-up lesson on setting up a server on VMware. I'm just going to pause and skip through these lessons as quickly as I can because these are just meant to be catch-up lessons for anything you missed or you want to revisit. So I've made a folder on my F drive because I got an F drive on my computer. You can be D or C or whatever. I've got my 2019 server 1 folder empty, and I've got 2019 ISO file there. So I've got my two folders made. So I'm going to create, you need to click the home tab if you've got other things running, home. And one tip is worth doing to avoid any errors is if you go to VM and set, we create the new virtual machine first of all. When we create a new virtual machine, we'll go to custom and we'll click next. If we don't click custom, we go for typical, it'll install the non-graphical version for us. Click next again. It'll ask me where my ISO file is, so I browse F drive ISO. I click next. So make sure you're on install a disk ISO image, this middle option. Next. We're just going to install the evaluation version, so I haven't got a key. Next, and I'll just say yes. Next, I need to click where I'm going to save this one. Browse F drive server 1. Okay, I can put V1 into the end of this one if I want to. I click next. Then I click next again. We'll leave those as the defaults. Next. And then I'm going to increase the RAM up to 4 gig. I've got 16 gig in my machine, but I'm not going to go much over that. So I'm going to click next once I change the RAM. I'm going to come off network address translation and go host only. And I'm going to click next. I'm going to accept the default here. Next, it picks whichever hard drive you've got in your machine. So I've got NVMe drive, so you probably got SATA or the same as me, but leave it pick the default, the recommended. That's fine. It may not be that one for you. Next, I haven't got any previously configured disks, so I'm going to create a new one. Next. It asks me, I'm going to say the default, we can change these sizes at any time. That's the default name of the file, I'll accept that. And I'll click next. I think one thing, you can get an error, which perhaps I'll show later, but you can click customize hardware and we can go through these. You might see that we've got floppy disk drive. If you have, just disconnect it. You just untick these two boxes here. My floppy disk drive is disconnected, so that's fine. So I'll close that and I'll do finish. And then I need to be quick and click in the screen here. And when it asks for boot off any drive, hit the enter key and it'll start for you. If you miss that, you need to press Control Alt and insert. Control Alt insert will reboot it, and you've just got to be fast. And when it says press any key to continue or to boot, make sure you press the enter key. The process can be quite quick using VMware. So I'm going to leave the setup come up, and I'll show you the first screen. That's only a few seconds away. So we get the standard evaluation, and if you read here, it says it omits the graphical environment. We don't want that. That's something for a later lesson. So I'm going to click the desktop experience. If you forget to click that, your server will boot up with just a black screen and a command line prompt. So make sure you pick number 2, which is desktop experience. Click next. And cannot find software. So this is that floppy drive error I was telling you about. So if I go to VM now and I go to settings and I go to floppy and I disconnect them and I click OK. You may not need to do this, hopefully. So I'm going to click OK and it'll reboot. So I'm hitting the enter key. Okay, so I missed it that time. So I press Control Alt Insert and I'm hitting the enter key and the space bar. I missed it. I caught it that time and it'll reboot. And this is probably what you will get if you didn't have the error that I just showed you. It's worth seeing the error. In a classroom of 18 computers, 2 computers came up with that error, the others didn't. I don't know why. I found the solution on Google. Nobody could really tell me why it did it. So pause and rewind and have a look at how I fixed it if you need to. Change it to English United Kingdom, click next and install now. And then there's a couple of screens and then I'll do a pause while it goes through the setting up. So pick option 2. I've only had to do this because of the floppy problem I had. Next. I accept the license terms. Next. Custom. Next. And now it'll start to go through the system. I'll pause until it's, and I'll come back to you when we got finishing up. Okay, I'm just checking in view. I'm on 80%. It's taken quite a few more minutes. So I'll leave it continue and pause again. Okay, it's gone through all the finishing up and it's now going to restart the machine. Then when it comes back on, it should ask me to enter a password. Okay, so it ran through all the messages, starting services, setting up services, all the rest of it, and now it's done its second reboot, and it's starting up again. I think there's it runs through all the percentages, reboots, then on the restart it reboots the final time, and then asks us for a password. Okay, so I put the password in, press Control Alt and Insert, then I can put the password in, and then I'm going to log in. I'll pause for a fraction because it does take a bit of time setting these steps up, and once it's logged you on for the first time, it'll start up Server Manager. We'll talk about this particular option later on, and that's it. That's our server setup. If I go to local server, it's got no name, it's got no IP address, it's got nothing like that set up. And if I go to tools, you'll see I haven't got nothing that says Active Directory users or computers or anything there. So that was the first lesson in just getting a virtual machine set up. In the next lesson, I'll do the naming and IP numbers and the next steps. Thank you very much.